I find inspiration genuinely from so many people I meet, and it's an absolute privilege to be working for the organisation, for the community and in mental health. There's such a spectrum of outcomes that I find completely inspirational, from people that just learning how to have a cup of coffee with someone and not walk out when they finish their cup of coffee, but to wait for the other person to finish. Just very, very basic social skills, to people who are really recovering their lives and having had long periods of unemployment have got back into a career that they really find motivating. What's different about Jami from the other social care providers is that we employ people with the skills and experience to deal with the issues that come with people with quite significant mental health histories. And also, we have a huge remit for destigmatising, raising awareness and educating the community.
It's always very difficult to say what Jami does, because we recognise that everyone's experience of mental illness is different. So we have a person-centred approach. What we do first of all is try and look at what people's issues are, what their goals are, what their aspirations, hopes and dreams are, what the barriers are to achieving those, and then we look at how we can support someone. If you think about physical health, if someone has a stroke or broken leg, you might be looking at some equipment or some adaptations in order for someone to engage in the meaningful activity, in order to be able to get out of bed, to get dressed, to access their community. With mental illness, we're looking at maybe things like reducing anxiety or increasing motivation, providing the skills needed to be able to take part in those everyday activities.
Jami's approach to the people that we work with has changed significantly over the last 20 plus years. I think there was a sense in the beginning that people who had mental health problems needed looking after, weren't able to manage their own lives effectively, needed to somehow do what others expected of them, with very little risk involved. I think over the years we've come to realise that people should have autonomy, should have control over their own lives, and we strive now to give that to people. We don't do for people, we support people to do for themselves.
The way that Jami is different from NHS services is that Jami is ready to help you at whatever point you are at. Whereas when talking to Jami, I felt like they were understanding where I was coming from and they were ready to help.
When I was an interviewer in an employment agency, there were only two types of people that I wasn't expected to find a job for. One was a person who had mental health issues, and two was a person who had been in jail. Obviously, they didn't know about my mental health issues. I had to hide my mental health issues for 20 years. The perception of mental health has changed, and I hope that it goes on to change in that way.
Part of a mental illness is about being with other people. And I think here we're allowed to be with other people and work alongside them. And that crosses so many bridges. It allows people to interact. It allows people to use their communication skills where perhaps they were not coming out so often, not talking to anyone. Where here, you can start to learn those skills again. You've got them, it's just unlocking them again.
I have the ability to decide what I want to do that on a particular day. I do have skills and I do have abilities far beyond what I thought I did. So it's digging them out and saying, reminding myself that I'm a very multi-talented, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing.
I just started working just over a year now, and I really enjoyed it, and I was of help, so that made me feel good about myself. And it all stemmed from that. They've helped me so much, Jamie. Keeps my mind active, keeps my mind off all my troubles. So it's been wonderful.
I believe Jami are ahead of the curve when it comes to mental health. They seem to get it, that it needs to be more user-led, it needs to be more informal. That's why we're sitting in this amazing cafe now, because it's thinking outside the box, and there's a lot of freedom to that. And it's not having this fear of, oh, you know, what's around the corner. It's more about, we're excited what's around the corner. We don't know what's next, and that's what makes it great. And I think the results are in itself. Jami has grown massively since I've started. It was very small, and now it's 60 employees and 4 centres, etc. There's so much going on. That is a testament to that philosophy, because people can engage with that, people are connecting with that, and it's making a tangible, real difference to people's lives.
It was when I discussed with Andrew about not finding it hard for a full-time job. It was getting really hard on me because I find it very stressful looking for a job. But since in a couple of weeks ago, near the end of October, when I found out I was employed, it gave me someone to talk to and help me get through life more easier than being very hard.
The thing I'm most proud of with Jami is the self-esteem courses. I did 2 of them. It was a forum for discussing about my problems and being open, and I felt really good in those 2 courses. And I've signed up to another course in November about how you change as a person and deal with that change. Becoming more confident, more self-esteem. So.
From my work in schools, they're reaching out for it. The young people do want to know more. I think the pressure that we put on young people is a really huge area, and I think it's definitely increased since I was in school. I think it's really important that we're having these honest conversations with them and giving them the tools to look after themselves, because I see the worries they have about it.
Well, the outreach that the Headroom team does to communities is a really vital part of our work, and it's a very exciting part of our work, going into communities and talking about mental illness and reminding everybody that 1 in 4 adults are affected at any point by a mental health issue, and getting people to own that and try to understand that and be able to talk to others about that is a very important part of challenging stigma and trying to improve our conversation around our own mental well-being and our mental health.
Parity of esteem is essentially saying that mental illness is an illness like any physical illness, and therefore it should be treated in exactly the same way. So we should be able to talk about it. Services for mental illness should be just as accessible as for physical illness. Ultimately, that we shouldn't talk about mental health and physical health. We should just talk about health, and we should just talk about illness. We need the community to understand that mental health is every bit as important as all those other causes out there. The community, unfortunately, has also got to understand that it needs funding. And if you really share our vision that the community understands mental illness and can deal and embrace and acknowledge and have better mental well-being, then you've got to invest in that.
I think if I could say things that everybody who's helped me would be, I think the first thing would be thank you, and the second thing would be to show them that how far I've come with my degree and with employment, and that I feel like I've actually fulfilled a lot of my goals that when I started with Jami I thought would be impossible.